This is Sheila with Fit for the Master, and I want to just share with you my story of how I got up after a slip. Within Fit for the Master, I did a series a while ago on the different stages of the weight loss journey. And one of the stages is complacency. And this is the stage where we have to be careful not to be overconfident. Well, I found myself in that stage. I was telling myself, you know what, I got this. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm doing. Stuff is automatic for me now. I'm good. I'm good. And it is actually while in this headspace that I slipped. And so let me walk you through what happened. During 2017, even though I was following my food plan, somehow between menopause and thyroid issues or combination of the two, I gained like 15 pounds. And that really, really, really bothered me because I was following my food plan. I was eating within the boundaries of my food plan, and so I heard this voice. I'm doing these coaching calls. I'm coaching individual people individually, and as a group, I'm doing these prayer calls. And I heard this voice. How in the world can you talk to people about eating and lose weight? And look at you gaining weight. Now, along with that, I was also getting very discouraged because, to be honest, the attendance in the coaching calls and in the prayer calls, they were starting to drop. They were dropping rather low. And so, in addition to that voice telling me that I didn't have a right to tell and talk to anybody about losing weight since my weight was going up, there was another voice going on in my head. Ain't nobody want to see. Nobody's on this call. You ain't got that many people on this call. Ain't nobody want to hear what you have to say anyway. So I'm going back and forth between all of these voices. I was very embarrassed about the weight loss, embarrassed about the number of people on the calls, and I started just isolating. Just pulling back, disconnecting myself from my own support, and but still telling myself, look, I know what to do to get this weight off. Look, let me just get this weight off. I know what I got to do. Let me just start exercising more. I know my eating is right, so let me just exercise more. I can maybe if I exercise, I can lose some of the weight that I gained. And so I started going to the gym. I was going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, and I really enjoyed it. I felt good. I physically felt really good. Um, I lost 3 pounds, but then the weight loss stopped. And in 4 months, working out 3 to 4 times a week, I lost 4 pounds. And I was not happy with those results. And I know people in the health club was like, you don't look at the scale, it's muscle, yada 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 yada. That's all I hear is y'all just yak yak yak. Look, all I see is I'm working out 3 to 4 times a week, and in 4 months I lost 4 pounds. I am not happy with the results. I'm very frustrated, and again, let me tell you, I felt good. I really did. Make no mistake about it. I felt good. My skin was even looking nicer. I look at some pictures of myself with no makeup, and it's like, man, my skin looks so nice. I was sleeping better. I was very conscious of my body and how I was feeling. I was feeling, I could tell that, stuff was happening on the inside. I can tell that, my muscles was getting toner and stuff like that, but I still did not like the idea that the scale was not moving. And so when my health club closed for remodeling, that seemed to me like a good reason to stop going. I told myself, look, I wasn't going to waste my money on a suspended membership. And mind you, I could have went to another gym, but I didn't. And then eventually I was out of the routine and stopped working out like that. Then the end of the year came, and a huge shift took place within my family. And it was a shift in a good direction, actually. There was something that I had been praying to God about for 4 years, and it had finally been answered. It was like, 4 years of getting a no, and we finally got a yes. Our living situation was in upheaval for 4 years, and in a matter of days, it shifted in under a yes. And, this was a good thing. and the emotions of the relief, the emotions of just, just in disbelief, can't believe this is actually how, I mean, it's finally happening. The excitement, just exorbitant happiness. It was so intense that, although I wouldn't eat certain foods, I did give myself permission to stop measuring my food. My portion sizes, I started eyeballing my food portions, and slowly but surely, I was on this slope where my portion sizes for my meals, they were getting bigger and bigger. And I rationalized it by telling myself, it's vegetables, fruit, and protein. It's okay. It's okay. I still wasn't, eating sweets. I still wasn't eating, food with sugar and flour, but again, the portion sizes still was bigger. They were growing. They were growing. Well, then again, we're at the end of the year. We're in December now, and so now every day I went to work, there was some kind of fancy holiday treat. We would get an email, such and such is in the break room, and either it was something a vendor brought in, sent to us by mail, or a coworker brought it in. Every day it was something, and every day everyone was indulging and talking and going on and on about how good this is, how good that thing is that's in the break room. And I started off, I know how to do smile and say no thank you, smile and say no thank you, smile and say no thank you. I've been doing that for a while, but after a while that smile left. I was tired. I really was. I was getting tired because this was day in, day out, day in, day out. I was tired of having food around me that I couldn't eat. And so, skip the smile. I just said, no, thank you. And every time I saw that email about what was in the break room, I would just cop an attitude on the inside because it wasn't anything I could eat. Until one day, I saw a box come in. I saw an email come in with a picture of the box of pecans that's in the break room. I checked it out. Regular pecans with sea salt, nuts and sea salt. Perfect. Finally, food I can eat. And so, with no consideration of what I had for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I got my little modest portion of pecans, and I was finally able to snack like everyone else. And a couple days later, another package came in with pears. Yes, fruit. Finally, something else I can eat. And once again, even though I already had breakfast, I went inside and grabbed a pear. Not because I was hungry, not because it was mealtime, but because it was there. And oh, while I was in there, let me see if there's any more of them pecans left. Let me grab a couple of those too. And that's what I did. And so honestly, I really wasn't that crazy about the pears. I won't say who the brand was, but I didn't like them. But I did like the pecans a lot. And every day I went back for more. And I would just go just enough times to fit in, but I monitored the amount of times I went in so it wouldn't be so noticeable that I was eating all of them, because God forbid if somebody thought I was being greedy. I didn't want that to go. I didn't want to, raise up any of those kind of alarms. And so this then became my new boundary. If it's food I can eat, as long as it's not sugar, not flour, not artificial sweetener, I can have some with no regard as to what I was having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That somehow made sense to me to adapt that as a new boundary. Well, what started with, just partaking with what was in the lunchroom, in the break room, led to me making trips to the store to get extra pieces of fruit and 2 to 4 packages of nuts. This continued, and my trips to the store gradually included protein bars and something called oatmeal bites. And the 4 packs of nuts eventually became the larger container of mixed nuts, and then the half a pound or a pound of nuts, and the protein bars actually felt like candy bars. The oatmeal bites actually felt like I was eating cookies, and eventually I was eating 2 to 3 protein bars a day. And the entire container, where I would only eat like 2 oatmeal bites because that's how much a serving size was, eventually I was then eating the entire container of oatmeal bites in a day. And which, by the way, it was a pack of 8. It was 8 to the pack, and that pack of 8 oatmeal bites was $4.29. And yes, I got to the point where I was spending anywhere from $10 to $15 a day on these healthy snack foods. And I remember telling myself, Sheila, this is as bad as someone's 2 pack a day cigarette habit. It felt like I was making a store run to get my stash of food the same way someone had to stop and get a pack of cigarettes. The pull or the craving to do so was that intense, even though it was quote unquote healthy food. Well, by the end of the year, I weighed 25 pounds more than I did at the beginning of the year. I couldn't understand why I couldn't just stop eating the protein bars. They didn't have sugar in it, I told myself. See, I know if I eat stuff with sugar, the cravings to continue to eat more will come, and they come strong. So why can't I stop eating these protein bars? Well, one day I looked closely at one of the bars and it said 0 grams of sugar. That was right there on the front of the label. So I told myself, look, that meant no sugar, right? But see, I know that I'm supposed to read ingredients, and I hadn't before. And sure enough, when I read that label, when I read the ingredients, I saw chocolate. And can you believe? Yes, I wrestled with, well, maybe chocolate isn't really a sugar because the package on the outside says 0 gram of sugar. Now, really, how crazy is that? No wonder it felt like a candy bar. The protein bar was made up of the same thing of my favorite candy bar, peanut butter and chocolate cutting. Duh, that's a Reese's cup. Now, at this point, I wasn't quite sure what the pull on with the oatmeal bites and the layer bars, why that pull was there, but because they mostly was just nuts and dried fruit. But I did learn about that later, why that was a problem, and I'll talk about that at another time. But anyway, then here comes New Year's. New Year's came, and along with New Year's comes our church fast. I was actually relieved. During this time of consecration, we were given a particular fast to do, and we were also given a specific Bible reading guide to follow. So I was doubly relieved. My prayer was just I wanted to be able to get through the fast and to stay on track with the Bible reading, because I knew that if the Word of God can touch my heart, that the Word of God would heal me and it will rescue me from the crazy eating that I was doing. I knew that. I believed that. And so that's all I wanted to do. If I can just, that was my prayer. God, help me continue to stay faithful with the Bible reading that we were given to go along with our fast. And one of the first scriptures that came in there within, I think the first day it was. If it wasn't day 1, it was day 2. It's from Psalms 29 and 11. The Lord gives his people strength, and the Lord blesses his people with peace. And I began just thanking God for giving me the strength to let go of the extra food that I started eating. I began thanking God for giving me the strength to get back on my regular food plan. I began thanking God for blessing me with peace about eating on my food plan. I wanted to have peace about it. And so I did that. I continued to pray that every day. Even when I didn't see it, I knew well enough to know that even if I didn't see it, I knew enough about God to know that I don't have to see everything he does to know that he was still working. And so I believe that he was still working. He was still blessing me. He was strengthening me and blessing me with peace as I continued to keep my focus on, let me continue with the fast for my church and continue with the Bible reading. I believed that God was strengthening me and He was blessing me with peace. Well, this was a 21-day fast. And toward the end of the fast, I began sensing the need to connect with other Christians who were recovering from food addiction. And although I must say I didn't really like the phrase, I couldn't help but admit that I felt like an addict. Because when I looked at how much money I spent every day on quote unquote healthy snacks, when I looked at the special trips that I made to get a stash, and the sneaking I was doing to get food, and the food that I hid so no one at work or home would notice, and mostly the compelling urge to keep eating and to constantly eat more and more, an urge that I couldn't control or stop, I had to admit that my relationship to food, or at least to certain types of food, was definitely addictive, just as addictive as someone addicted to the nicotine in cigarettes or to alcohol or even drugs. The only difference was I could get mine without breaking laws, and I could get mine without society frowning at me, especially around the holidays. Now, the idea of finding a group of people to connect with for support was that was not strange to me. If you know my story, you know that connecting with people, that was definitely a key part of my journey, of the successes in my journey. Um, so I know that when I touch others in agreement, I know that God is in the midst. My experience, I've been in this journey long enough to know and to have experienced that. And I know that when God is in the midst, my experience has been that one word from God can shift my thoughts and desires because His word accomplishes what He sends it to accomplish. My experience has also been that it's hard for me to hear His word when I'm off in distance trying to figure things out on my own. And the Bible and my experience had taught me that when I fall and I'm by myself, there's no one that I can grab onto to help me up. So I found a group. I found a group of believers that reconnected, or I should say, I reconnected with a group of believers that I know of that are living and aspiring to live free from food obsession. I remember getting on that call, and I introduced myself and I said, I'm Sheila, and I am here to serve notice to the devil that I am not on this journey alone. And so I kept showing up on that call, and even though I was at work, I listened and I announced my presence. Eventually, I would hear God speaking through others, and in a short amount of time, my food got back on track. I still struggled with nibbling a little bit. My portion sizes got back on track, and the just letting go of the protein bars and all that extra fruit that I was eating and all the extra nuts. I was able to let go of all of that stuff, and I still struggled a little bit with nibbling. But even after a while, even the nibbling stopped. I was following my food plan, clear, clean eating within specific portions, and beyond following my food plan, I was even neutral about food. There was a neutrality. It was just, everything, anything about me, my meals, everything about my meals, etc., became neutral, and so I began making my steps were more secure on my journey, and even if I did wobble or have a misstep, I was still accountable to someone else with my food. So as long as I was honest with her about my food, she was able to help me take corrective measures. So yes, I too have to apply this same fit for the master strategy, following a food plan, interacting with the Word of God, touching others in agreement, and declaring the good things, the four good things that God is doing. I do have to apply this FIT4, the master strategy, so I can continue on this journey where I'm eating in a way to lose weight, to keep the weight off, and to be free from the obsession of food so that I can present my body to Him alive in health and ready for the master to use. This is Sheila with Fit for the Master. We're in this thing for the long haul because the master has need of us. God bless you.